Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 83 of my 100-day project. Yesterday, I realized I misspoke. Yesterday was day 82, and I said day 81. So it's all running together clearly. And I haven't felt super great this week. I'm having like major allergy issues. So if you suffer with allergies like I do, it's spring here in upstate New York. I feel for you. So today I was just not feeling great. And so I kind of made a bit of a cranky lady because that's how I was feeling. And I have to say, I love her. I love her crankiness. And it just reflected where I was and where my mindset was. So I kind of started her on the right-hand side a little bit higher, thinking, okay, I'm going to have to put in more of her body and figure out what I'm doing with the background, but I just went with it. I just started going and just went with whatever made sense next. So I'm still using the Canson MiTientes Velvet paper. This is, I forget what they call this shade of brown, but it's a pack of 12 by 16, I think. It's either 12 by 16 or 12 by 18 pack of sheets, and then it comes with 2 or 3 different shades of browns. And I had cut up a sheet yesterday to 5 by 7, which is the size I'm working on in the project. And so the way I cut it, I had 2 sheets. So I was like, okay, well, let me use the other one today. And I know some of this brown is going to show through from my experience yesterday, unless I really, really get in there. Part of it's going to show through. So I thought, all right, let me use colors that sort of play to that. Maybe I'll do like a brown skin tone today or shades of brown. So I started the shadows off, I did my sketching with a lighter purple and then used a darker purple for the initial shadows. And then purple, what do I like next to purple? Green. So that's what color I decided her hair would be. And she looks super scary right now. She's just sort of got a general sketch in. And then I thought, all right, well, let me figure out what I'm going to do in this background. So I started out with some sky, and I really felt like drawing a tree. So I drew a tree, and then it became this sort of nature scene. Maybe she's hanging out in the woods or doing something, I don't know, but she's outside. That's what I know. So from there, I just really started to layer in, and I'm getting more familiar with these wax pastels now and how hard I should press and shouldn't press, and how many layers I can get. So I've got those purples down as an initial shadow, and then I'm going in with a couple of different shades of browns, and I know that I can layer those over the purples and build up shadows that way. And I'm using some dark green for her eyebrows to match her hair, and then I layer in some lighter greens on top of it. And what you see me doing over there on the right, typically what I do so I can keep track of my colors is I'll pull out the colors I'm using and set them aside and put away the colors I'm not. So it's clear to me, I've used this one, I haven't used that one. And I do find with these sort of drawing materials, I do tend to use more colors than I would if I'm using paint, which I think is really interesting. So I want to try and use the same colors as much as possible throughout the painting, so that I'm not getting like 1,200 different colors that don't really harmonize. So I'm just kind of looking at the shadows and trying to build some lights in there without getting too light, because I want to keep her skin color darker to kind of match some of what's going to show through from the paper itself. And I did a straight on view because that requires less thinking. I don't have to fight with the nose as much. And that made it easier for myself. So I was just trying to do things to keep things a little bit easier for me. Getting in the whites of the eyes, which is actually a gray color. I really like that color. And so I'm using that in the white, so I'm going to use it in the sky. just to kind of harmonize. And then I'm like, well, we need to fill in some of this background. It's almost got kind of a deserty feel to it with this sort of tree that doesn't have any leaves and these flowers that are kind of sparse. Kind of got a deserty vibe. And she still looks scary. I'll get to her. I'm just kind of working all over the place right now, which is kind of cool. I mean, I'm not having to wait for anything to dry, but it's sort of a habit I've built now of just working on different parts of the painting. I'm still using that darker purple to build in the shadows. I really like that with the brown. It's a nice cool color, so it works really well for shadows, especially layering it with those warmer browns. Not fussing with her nose too much today, which is good. I don't even give her nostrils. Like, it's just, it is what it is with her. These paintings, it's funny, like, I don't feel any pressure with them, which is so wonderful because, you know, the goal isn't to create 100 masterpieces. The goal is to practice and to play with these materials and see what I come up with. And if I really love what I create, that's a bonus. And if I don't, that's totally fine and acceptable. And sometimes I go in and I work on it a little bit after I give it a break, just if there's something I need to fix. Like, there's several, if you go back and look at my thumbnails, they don't look like that anymore because there might be like, oh, I need to fix that eye. Like, I really need to do that, or something. I'll make a change. But when I'm finished with the whole project, I'll do kind of a 10-day per medium summary, and you'll get to see where they ended up. So I'm just kind of, it's funny, from this distance, it looks like she has a beard with her neck, but I'm just adding in some of the colors from her body into the tree, into the shadows, to give it some interest back there, and again, to harmonize some of the colors. That green color I added in the background is a cooler green. So with atmospheric perspective, things that are farther away from us tend to be a little cooler in comparison to things that are closer. So I used a bit of a cooler green back there and more warmer greens up front. I really like that color combination of that magenta and that orangey red on her clothing. That's a really fun combination. So I use that in the flowers that are to her left. And now I'm going in with sort of my lightest lights at the very end, just to bring some additional highlights. I didn't want to go too light too early because I wanted to keep her skin tone on the darker side. And still just adding a little bit more color into that tree. Getting in the highlights on her eyes. And this was a little bit tough to get in there. I had quite a bit of pigment already, and it was a small area. So it wasn't easy to get in there. But I just love her. She's kind of annoyed. She's kind of like, whatever. Her head's kind of big for her body. She's got a bit of a bobblehead, but that's okay. I really like those little flowers. And the tree. I'm loving the tree. So there we go. Day 83. You can see a lot of that texture showing through. But I really like her eyes. And I gave her some wrinkles, y'all. Like, these women I've been doing, these people, they need a little more character, I think. And so I want to start reflecting a little more age, a little more wisdom as we go through. But there we go, day 83 in the books. I hope you're doing well. Happy Friday to you, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.